Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, we got another trade. Tristan Thompson is headed to the Atlanta Hawks for the services of Chris Dunn and a second round pick from 2023, 2 years from now. So, um, I look at this as a salary dump for the Boston Celtics. They are opening up their center position for the young players that are in place, Robert Williams and Moses Brown. There was no reason for them to keep Tristan Thompson. Um, I think that Tristan Thompson heading to Atlanta, in theory, is a good piece because it gives them another big time rebounder behind Clint Capella. But here's the deal: I don't think they're keeping Tristan Thompson. I see people in the comment section of this trade saying, "Oh, Atlanta won the deal because they got Tristan Thompson. They needed a rebounder." No, they didn't. They didn't. What they need is to allow Clint Capella to continue to dominate the bulk of the minutes at the center position and Onyeka Okongwu to continue to step into the role that he's playing at the power forward position. And they need to re-sign, what's his name? My guy, uh, man, their power forward. They need to re-sign him. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, and they need not Collins. Excuse me. They need not let him go. So there's not a role for Tristan Thompson unless they let him go. Um, or they trade Clint Capella, as to which I don't see either taking place. Um, but it does give them insurance, nevertheless, to let him walk if they decide to. So we'll see what happens, but I'm almost certain that Tristan Thompson is going to be a buyout candidate slash wave candidate, as to which I'm welcoming him to the Los Angeles Lakers because that's going to happen about 3, 2, 1. I mean, that's a no-brainer, dude. Tristan Thompson to the Lakers is about as easy of a prediction as any prediction I'm ever going to make. That's happening. Why? Because we need a center. We need what it is that he does. And ultimately, he's a Bron guy. And if you remember, Tristan Thompson made a fortune of money. Why? Because LeBron James lobbied him to getting that money. And I could argue it is why Cleveland has sucked for so long. That particular contract is the one that was the nail in the coffin for them. But nevertheless, I think that now, since he has made that kind of money and does owe LeBron that type of favor, and we do need a center that can kind of make it so that AD doesn't have to play the center position all the time, and somebody who can bang and do the things that Tristan Thompson basically does, I'd imagine he's on the way. So, yeah, I think that's almost already. He's probably already been in discussions with the Lakers, and I don't need nobody to tell me that. That's just common sense. Um, Plus, he's a Kardashian. He's going to want to be in LA. He's got a child here with Chloe, and it makes more sense than anything for him to join the Lakers this year. So I expect that to happen. I expect Kevin Love to come as well. Somehow he's gonna get bought out finally. I'd imagine that he will sign with the Lakers too. So that's what I see happening here. That's exactly what I see happening here. Um, and someone from Brody's camp, somebody that Brody's close to, is probably gonna end up a Laker too. I don't know who it is. I have no idea. I'm just saying. Usually that's how it goes. Stars tend to want to bring players to them that they've played with, guys that they know are going to be their kind of guys. And Brody's going to want his own imprint on this roster. I can guarantee it. I don't know in what form. Maybe one of the coaches we hire. It may be in one of the players that we pick up. But somebody from Brody's past is coming to this team. It wouldn't shock me if it's a Andre Roberson type player, even if we don't need no non-shooters. But I'm just saying, someone's coming. So that's what I expect, man. I'm assuming all of this. None of this has to necessarily play out this way. Tristan Thompson probably will have other suitors if he is waived. Again, Atlanta could keep him. They could, but I don't see a role there for him. I really don't. And I see him seeing an opportunity to come play for the Lakers in a situation that's best for him. The only thing I will say to that is he can't shoot. We need our center to be able to shoot. We don't need anybody to clog the paint. If that's the case, some would argue we might as well just re-sign Andre Drummond, who's a younger version. So I can totally understand that as well. But being that I don't think the waiver wire is full of a bunch of players and we don't only need one center, we need several, I can totally see us getting both of those guys. But for me, Personally, I want to see us go after shooting at that center position. But even so, I would still bring in Tristan Thompson. So that's what I got for you guys. It's not much more to it than that. I think it's more so just about a salary dump. If you want to look at the Boston side of that trade, they're getting a second-round pick a couple years from now. And a guy that's similar to Marcus Smart, drafted around the same time. I think they were probably drafted the same year, a year apart or something like that. Similar strengths, similar weaknesses. I think Chris Dunn has gotten lost in the fold by just being in bad situations repeatedly and injury issues. He's one of those guys that, and you know me, I'm always talking about guys go to certain situations that can never get off their feet because they end up in bad roles. That's Chris Dunn. His career has been derailed by bad roles and injuries. It started off in Minnesota. He was not the type of point guard they needed. He was more so of a defensive point guard who could not shoot, and they knew that. They took him anyway. It didn't work out. They gave up on him early, traded him into another situation. I think he ended up in Chicago, buried behind 3 point guards. He was never able to get off the bench. When he was able to play, he showed he could play some defense, but he could not shoot. But he was a very good slashing to the rim and all that stuff. He was a talented dude. He could pass the rock, all that. But he got buried behind the bench, and then he ended up somewhere else, traded and so on and so forth, and he could never get off the ground. This is still somebody who I remember was a lottery pick, who it ain't been that long. It's only been 6 years at the most, 7 years. He's still a fairly young player. Maybe Boston can give him an opportunity to revitalize his career, give him at least a little bit of that Michael Carter Williams juice to where he can get enough minutes to show people, hey, I can at least be on your team this year. I can at least be a part of your bench. So I still believe that Chris Dunn has a role in this league somewhere, and maybe Boston can kind of give that to him. I think playing with Marcus Smart could be a very good thing for a guy like Chris Dunn. That's what I think. So, that's that. And maybe they waive him too. Who knows? At this point, that's how it kind of goes. If you don't want to take on guys, you just pick them up to waive them. It was more so about getting rid of the other contract and bringing in the second-round pick. So you could totally see Dunn as a waiving candidate as well. So, yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot, but that's what it is. People are just positioning themselves to get what it is that they want. Boston Celtics, you could look at them now as somebody who's going to be a player for trades. Obviously, they still have a bunch of picks, and they've gotten out from underneath Tristan Thompson's contract. So that's money on the books to pay to somebody to be a free agent. Maybe you look at Dennis Schroeder and say maybe that's a place that might be interested in paying him. Maybe not the price he wants to be paid, but you think about people who have maybe even a role for him now that Kemba Walker is gone, and they don't really have a point guard they really are looking at right now, to my knowledge. So maybe the Celtics are a spot that Schroeder would look at. So that's what's going through my head. Who knows? That's what I got. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out.